Welcome to Good Service. We are your hosts, Ben Chung
and Kevin Seo.
Each week we'll be breaking bread and having real, raw, and vulnerable talks about life, faith, and everything in between, and always over a fire meal.
Thanks for joining our table today. Let's eat.
Folks, welcome back to Good Service. We are your hosts, Ben
and Kevin.
Today we have a very special friend in the pod. I actually had to write this one down because I needed to do justice for this intro. James Mathews is in the pod today. He is currently, he leads influential global forums, including the World Economic Forum, Health 2.0, Robert F. Kennedy Center for Justice and Human Rights,
wow.
UC Berkeley, Yale University, Stanford University, Indian School of Business, and Ashoka University. He is a dad, husband, executive coach, founder of Elevate X, and quite possibly a superhuman. James Mathews is in the pod today. Welcome, James.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Happy to have you here. So, okay, we've been trying to get into the food faster. So today we've been blessed. Shout out Series A Coffee in Beverly Hills.
Yes.
They blessed us with this meal today. We have an amazing spread of these crazy concoction of drinks, as well as like pastries galore. Shout out Series A. I think we could just grab and get into it.
Yeah,
right?
we'll start grabbing it, and if you could just describe what's what, so we know what to get.
Okay, we got this. I got to pull up the menu. These have some really fun names. This one right here is the Malgona, which is a premium matcha and milk topped with delicate handmade honeycomb toffee.
Ooh.
Right over here we have Miso Corny, which is sweet corn puree, espresso, milk, sweet corn, cold foam, crunchy corn kernels. Wow, that's like a tongue twister. And right here we got the Black Pearl, organic black sesame, espresso, whole milk, charcoal cream, and organic crispy quinoa puffs.
I'm kind of leaning on that one.
That one looks bomb. And this one's their new one. I think this is their seasonal one, which is the Lil Pump, which is their take on pumpkin spice latte. And I think those are like pumpkin pie crumbles on top.
Well,
so
we got to give it to our guests.
Yeah, guest
Which
choice.
drink are you leaning towards?
All of them.
You can have them all.
Well, I guess we're just drinking water today. James wants it all, just like his resume.
That's right. I'm leaning towards the matcha in this.
Oh,
so maybe I take the matcha.
Okay, take the matcha.
Yeah.
This one's yours.
Let's do it. The Malgona is gone to James and Ben.
Shoot, I'm a pumpkin spice latte guy, so I'm gonna go.
What? Nice seasonal guy.
Yes, I love
I'm gonna do the black sesame. I drink black sesame all day long. I love
Do you
that.
really?
Yeah, I love it.
I've never had it.
It's unique.
Is it?
That's the easiest way to describe it.
Yeah.
It has this like, it's a very nutty flavor, but it's like its own. It's a very different.
I've
flavor.
had black sesame balls. We make that in India. It's like the they make it into little balls that you just eat.
It has that
I love
unique
it.
spice, right? Like it has this
a
like
unique-
like a little nuttiness to it.
It's very nutty.
Yeah. Well, okay. So now that we have like this bomb food in front of us, before we get into the actual eating of the food, we're gonna try something new here. We're gonna try something new. I call this First Bite Reflections. I just came up with this. First Bite Reflections. Before we take our first bite, okay, so the reason why we have food on this podcast is, well, one, we just love to eat. But two, food often, it creates a space where it invites intimate conversation. It creates a space for connection. And it just creates just good vibes, right? And so before we take our first bite, I want to pose a question or a prompt for us. What is one thing that you are grateful for specifically today? And then once we lock that in, we'll take our bite and then we'll go around and share.
Okay, sounds
cool?
good. Okay,
Let's try it. Let's
grab
see
the
if it works.
food.
Yeah, I'm gonna
share a reflection, take a bite.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm gonna
cool.
go with this. This is a ham and Swiss baguette. I'm gonna go with this guy.
All right.
Ham and Swiss baguette.
I got the same thing.
Oh, nice. Is this all the same?
Yeah, this is the same. This is a jalapeno cheese bagel. This is an almond croissant. This is a chocolate croissant.
Ooh, what's inside here? Just more cheese.
Jalapenos.
I think there's nothing inside that. I think that's just a bagel. Okay. Oh, but there's cream cheese here.
I'm gonna go with the sandwich.
Okay,
It
cool.
looks like there's cheese in
Is there?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no, yeah.
We're all doing the
I
sandwich.
think this is the cream cheese. Okay, cool. We all grab the ham and Swiss. All right, so let's lock in. The one thing that you are grateful for specifically today.
I'll kick us off. A memory just hit immediately. This morning, I had a choice, and this is I'm not gonna say who the meeting was with because I canceled that meeting, but I canceled it because I wanted to work on my physical health today.
Let's go.
And it was so every time I go to the gym about 3 to 4 times a week now.
Let's go.
Yes. And I love going to the steam room, and I try to stay in there for 10 minutes. And I usually don't take anything in there, but this is the first time I decided, you know what? I'm gonna take some music in there with me, just for my like a headphones. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna put my AirPods in, and I'm just gonna listen to calming music. And I had the craziest meditation.
Really?
It was pretty wow. It felt very supernatural actually, and I wasn't expecting it because I just wanted to sit in there, just kind of mellow out.
What did words or thoughts come right to you? What was it?
It was
you can't say that and not say it.
Yes. Share, please.
It was an instant revelation about. There's this thought that hit me that somebody spoke about, and the easiest way to put it is whatever task, because we're always so goal oriented, or we're trying to hit this platform or this stage, or I want to be a billionaire, a millionaire, I want to be a media superstar, or I want to make this piece of art, whatever it is, right? Instead of thinking of the goal or the end result, I want to be the man that would be in that place. So instead of working on just the external skills, I was thinking, if I want to have really awesome kids, or if I want to really have this awesome relationship with my wife, I want to be that man right now. And what does that look like? So I want to be the man before I make the whatever end result that would be, because I'm always so end result oriented. So in that meditation, I was just thinking about, man, I really want to master how I am at home. And I thought about that.
That's cool.
And it was really cool because I've kind of teetered around those thoughts, but I just thought about it, really thought about it. And I was like, man, what would it look like? What actions do I need to be doing every day to make that a reality? And just imagining what the results would be just from that. Yeah. And I was like, oh man, God's good. He just put that on me out of nowhere. I was just sitting there, cool. And I couldn't stop thinking about it. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I want to really work on who I am as a man.
That's good.
And I was
dope,
like,
man.
It was yeah.
I think you need to take your first bite after that one, dude. Hey, we're gonna do a sandwich cheers. There we go. Sandwich cheers.
Cheers.
We gotta take our first bite.
There's a good amount of ham in there.
Wow, that's good.
Thank you, Series A. It's delicious.
Very good.
I think there's a Dijon mustard in here too. That's a good sandwich. As I stop chewing. Yeah, I'll go. I've been in a very, I'll just call it a wilderness wandering season. I feel like there's a lot of transitional things happening in life that it's challenging, right? When we feel like we are asking questions and we're hoping for change and breakthrough, and we're asking God, Lord, when is this gonna happen? Mm-hmm. And you don't feel like you're getting a lot of answers, and circumstantially nothing's really changing. And I forget that when I read scripture, God works over years and years in people's lives, yet we read it And we think that these were things that just happened as soon as, someone prayed something and then something just happened the next day. So I think for me, I'm learning, man, God, like I've been praying about this for like months, you know what I mean? And like, I don't see anything changing. And so I think what I'm learning through this is, and here's what I am grateful for. And I felt like, because I think the past couple days has been just, in my head, feeling a little discouraged about things. But today I woke up feeling just hopeful without anything having changed. So that's what I'm grateful for. I think we've talked about spiritual warfare and things like that on this pod already. Of course, the enemy, he loves to attack our thoughts. He knows what we're insecure about. He knows what we care about, and so he tries to amplify those things in our minds. And praise God that because He is good and He is faithful. Like when I pray and I'm not getting necessarily the answer or the breakthrough that I'm praying for, God does give me just better days. Some days I'll wake up where I'm like, oh man, I'm in my head. And then the next thing I'm like, you know what, God, you're in control. And I think we're good. And circumstantially, we're still in the same spot. I feel like I'm still kind of waiting, still asking the questions. Yet my mindset is a little bit better today. So I woke up today with just that gratitude of like, Lord, my mind's a little bit better today. So let me just like be thankful for that and lean into it, sit in it, and enjoy this bomb ham and Swiss sandwich.
And it is bomb. Actually, nice. Ham's pretty good.
Yeah. What you got, James?
I had two surprises today, but one, I got to meet a 96-year-old woman who is in a nursing home, and she came over to the place where I was at, and she said, those people tell me I can't get out. Those people tell me this. Those people tell me that. And she was on her walker and jumping up and down. And my back hurt a little bit this morning when I woke up, and I was like, oh yeah, I gotta stretch. But I felt healthy and whole and healed after seeing her. I was like, yeah, nah, like 96-year-old woman jumping on a rocker. And then unexpectedly, somebody who actually just played a huge role in helping me and my family see that, yeah, hey, LA is the next place for you guys to move to. So Dave Gibbons texted and said, hey, I came a day early from Brazil. You free this morning? I'll come to you. And I needed that visit too. So Dave and I got to meet the 96-year-old lady. So it was like two things in one right before coming over here.
Wow.
So yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was cool. But to see someone else that's 96 jumping up and down all of a sudden, like I can't feel my backache anymore.
That's so good.
That's really good. That's really good.
So grateful for that, seeing, and no matter what age. And then she kept looking at us and saying, hey, you're my brother, you're my sister. We come from different mothers, and fathers, but remember we came through them. We all came from God. She's a Filipino that went through a lot of persecution when she moved here. For summer, she was telling a story. So yeah, it was cool to just see her perspective. 96,
that's awesome.
That's a lot of years lived through a lot of eras.
Yeah.
Right. So
wow, that's a really good, powerful morning.
Yeah.
Well, James, I met you earlier this year, so it's only been a handful of months. I don't really know much about your story other than I hear incredible things. Hence why I'm like, I think this guy might be a superhuman. Can you give us background, origin, however far back you want to go? And I know you've been doing some incredible things in the athletic world as well as in the entrepreneurial world. Can you give us a little walkthrough of that?
Yeah. first to your, revelation today, meditation about just being where you are, the best that you can be, is like Zechariah 4:10 says, "Do not despise the days of small beginnings, for the Lord is pleased with the one that starts." And what that means is, I want to be this. When I get there, I'll do this. When I get this much money, I'll do this. And Zechariah 4:10 says, no. And then when we pray, we say, Lord, I hope the Lord is pleased with me. But Zechariah 4:10 is literally saying, the Lord is pleased with the one that starts with not much. And so you're right on. Like you're right on with saying, hey, can I be the best man I can be, best father, best husband I can be today? Just having that wish is more than most husbands and fathers are thinking about today. You're rich with just that thought. Yeah. Your wife and kids are lucky that you even had that thought today, because most other husbands and fathers haven't thought that today, or maybe haven't even had that thought for weeks or months, because they're still chasing all the other stuff. Yeah. So just remember, break bread, the word, everything we need for you. My prayer is not answered. I learned when I was in my 20s, because of the life I kind of led. It's been wonderful. Like, I've had this charming, just luck-filled life. But it comes with, if you reach a high, it's most people who get there probably have reached a really deep low as well. And when you're there, you just kind of think, man, could I ever get there? And so when I grew up in a house full of faithful people, my parents, my dad and mom, like, nobody's done anything like them from my point of view. My wife and her family, same thing. So I was around it, but I have heard it so much growing up, it didn't mean anything anymore. I needed to see it live. I needed to see it work. Going to a Sunday or rushing to a Bible study just to hear a word and then walk away going, how's that going to apply to me today, right now, in this moment? So I encourage people who doubt, because do you know the one who doubted in the Bible after Jesus was crucified and raised again? Do you remember the disciple's name? Thomas. He doubted. And we look at him and go, I don't want to be the one who doubts. I don't want to be the one who doubts. Well, I wasn't there. I doubt. Like Thomas the Doubter. Can you believe that's a nickname?
Yeah, that one kind of sucks.
Yeah. That's a crappy nickname.
But I am Christian because of Thomas the Doubter. When the temple fell in AD 70, Thomas got on a ship, floated through that Mediterranean, across the Indian Ocean, 15 miles away from where I have a house right now, and where my family and my wife's family lives, and converted all those people over there and shared the gospel.
Whoa. That's crazy.
So doubt.
Man, I think, dude, that is a word for us.
No, but listen, doubt, but Proverbs 25:2 says, and this is what I learned when I was a teenager. I had some big trauma stuff that happened I can share, but Proverbs 25:2 says, it is a glory for God to conceal a matter, meaning it's a glory. God gets glory when he hides something. Jeez. The second part of that verse says, it is a glory for kings to search for what God has hidden. It's a glory for kings to search for what God has hidden. What did that verse say to you? Just repeat it back. Tell me what you heard.
So you said that God is glorified when he hides things, and it gives God glory when kings search for what he has hidden.
Yes. But you know what most people say? How they read that verse? God gets glory when he hides something. Fine.
Right.
Kings get glory when they find something.
Right.
No, it doesn't say find. It says search. It doesn't say find.
Wow. So we
It's
don't
a
even
technical
need,
difference.
Right. We don't even need to find it. We just
You
gotta
pray.
we just gotta search.
Did you search your best today?
Right.
All you can
Right.
for the direction, in the direction, the next step. Were you obedient? You know, when the little things, in the little things today that God directed to you do. Yeah, pray your prayer. Pray for big things. But did you search today? So I go to sleep at night. I sleep really well. My wife's really jealous. Like, takes me a minute. Why? Because I ask myself the question is like, hey, did I search?
Whoa.
Did I search? Did I give my all to the search today?
Wow.
Yeah, I don't worry about the answer because I'm 55 years old. Like, I've come to the place where I've realized nothing. You read that bio and I read it and I'm a little embarrassed because a lot of it's luck. Like if I sit here and say, oh yeah, I did this, I did that, I did that. Like at this point in life, I kind of know, man, there's a lot of things that go into people getting to where they get to.
100% yes.
And it largely wasn't because of any genius. Now people say, oh man, he's smart, he has a plan, let's follow him. Like, my plan is to search. If you want to work with me, you're going to get very frustrated because you're going to say, okay, what's next? Where's the plan? What are we going to do? Can we see? I'm like, I hear the vision. I know what to pray. My job is to search today.
Wow.
What does that mean to search?
It means to search. It's a good question because I encountered that today because literally this happened. A 96-year-old lady was speaking and she got into this mode. Dave was there with me and I knew he had limited time. And in my head, I go, man, do I sit here and listen to her because she was speaking? Or do I say, okay, find a break, say okay, and say, Dave, come on, let's go. And I said, no, I'm going to give her my attention right now. I need to listen to what she has to say. I need to hear her joy. I need to feel that. I need to speak because the Bible says, and we ignored this a lot. This is for you guys' generation, like this is super important. The Bible says, kids will prophesy. The young will see vision. The old will dream. So if you don't have that age group mix around you, then if you're running around with kids, all you're going to hear is prophecy. And you know what? You're going to get frustrated because there's no vision and there's no dreaming.
Wow.
Right? So there's a lot of prophecy. Oh, there's a lot of vision. But nothing's happening.
Can you explain what that means? That kids will they will see prophecy or they will prophesy?
Yeah, the Acts, look it up in Acts, and it's in the Old Testament as well. It says kids will prophesy, young will see vision, the old will dream. You got to have everybody together. So when I look at teams, so this is what I'm telling you. Like when you've read some of that stuff, all of it's true. And I also haven't put in my bio a lot of other things because at some point it feels like I'm lying. But you know what I look for in teams is I look for, hey, is there old? Is there young? Is there kids? So everything I do, I make sure that that's there. And I listen to the prophetic words of the kids. I listen to the older people above me who have dreams. And then my role may be to cast vision. But if I'm the older one in the room, I may get to dream for you. You know, so you have to have that mix of people in your life, in the church, in the community. And that's why families matter. That's why intergenerational families, and sometimes I can be family. I can be older brother to you. It's like what Felicia, the 96-year-old, said today. We don't have to come from the same father and mother for us to be family because of the blood that's flowing through us through Christ. It matters.
Can you break down the difference between the three, between a dream, a vision, and a prophecy? Like what is the difference between those things?
Prophecy is saying something that will come to pass in the future, speaking out something that's in the future. Here's why a lot of us in life don't buy into or think that's important. 1 Corinthians, I think it's 1 Corinthians 13, says, hey, love, peace, hope, joy, and the greatest of these is?
Love.
Love. You got it right. What does 1 Corinthians 14, the very next chapter, verse 1 say?
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, if you read 1 Corinthians 14, it says, hey, yeah, love is the greatest. But above all this,
to desire prophecy.
Desire prophecy. It doesn't even say to prophesy. It says just desire. Because it may be somebody else prophesying. It says desire prophecy. And that word prophecy, it's not the weird type of prophecy where somebody gets, hey, thus saith the Lord, fire and... No. That word, prophecy, that's why studying the bread, the word, the ingredients is important. Yeah. That specific word in 1 Corinthians 14 means you. In a moment, do I go left? Do I go right? Do I listen to 96-year-old Felicia? I've been waiting to meet with Dave for weeks. Or do I just sit there and listen? Do I give her my heart and attention? I want her to see in my eyes me listening to her with all my heart. So I did that. It is prophesying in a moment.
Wow.
Versus, and it might be just for you, and it should be just for you. Can you prophetically say, hey, do I? And that ties to Proverbs 25, verse 2. Search. Life is a maze. It's a maze. And sometimes we go left and we hit a dead end. Well, okay, great. Now I know I can't go that way. Let me go the other way. Do I go left? Do I go right? Do I sit here right now? Do I pick the matcha or that? I was hoping you wouldn't pick the pumpkin spice. I kind of want to share the drink now.
We can share it.
Like, you can take this to the nth degree, right? But being prophetic is such a gift to navigate life, because do I vote Republican or do I vote Democrats? Am I scared to say Black Lives Matter? Or will I say it? No, I'll say it. Because if you're saying against the context of love your neighbor, 100% Black Lives Matter. I don't have to say anything else.
Yeah.
If you're talking about politics and political organizations and everything, I'm not going to get drawn into that. But what do I do? So I was in a place where when Black Lives Matter became a thing, there are a lot of people around me, Christians, that were scared to say it. I'm not scared to say it. In that context.
Sure.
Now, if you're pulling me into a political discourse, I'm not getting drawn into that.
Yeah.
Because that's, people are manipulating something that is pure.
Yeah.
Right? And that is being manipulated. So you don't want to get into that. But to say Black Lives Matter, no, I will say it at the expense of other people going, man, are you really conservative Christian? I don't want to be conservative Christian if you can't say that. I don't want to be around you if you can't say that.
Right.
Now put it in the political context. Yeah, I'm with you. There are pros and cons to all that stuff. I can't even judge political. That's subjective. But so in this world today, being able to navigate, sometimes it's a prophetic, do I speak up now or do I be quiet? Do I speak now? Okay, I'm going to speak now. Or do I turn left? Do I turn right? It's super important. If you want to be a great husband and father, guess what you have to do? You have to live out 1 Corinthians 14:1, because you're an amazing man, Kevin. You are. Like anybody that, my kids, my family, my wife, loves you both. They're like, they wanted to be
love
here.
Your family
They wanted to be here doing the podcast.
Yeah.
But my daughter had an interview, and I said, I don't think you can have your interview during that time. Anybody that's met you guys are like, yeah. But you yourself need to have an inner compass and a GPS, and that 1 Corinthians 14:1 word prophecy, you need to exercise that. And I've exercised it. I left home when I was 15.
Whoa.
Wow.
I left home when I was 15. I never finished high school, but I went to college.
Well, you
I
can do
went
that.
from 10th through to college.
Yeah, you can do that. If your name is James.
You can just
I did.
do whatever you want.
Like right
do
now,
whatever you want.
I can say I have no high school diploma, but I went to college.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So that was a mistake though. you know, in Asian culture, South Asian culture, it's like, oh, you get to go to college. You know, I'm in India, and everybody's like, you can finish your master's by the time you're 19. Go. So they put me on a plane, and my dad brought me over here to America, went back, and I'm alone here thinking, college is about studying. Is it?
It's more than that.
Not here.
That's not what I did. That's not what I did in college.
Not here.
Yeah.
So it was a mistake. Mm-hmm. I needed to be with my parents and my family. My sisters have a different relationship with my parents than I do right now, because I miss those years.
Got it.
I miss those years. My parents love me. I love them. But my relationship with my parents has a different tone than what my sisters have with them, because they went through life with them.
So your sisters stayed back home in India.
They
You were
all
out here by
stayed back.
yourself.
I was here by myself at age 15. Why? It's a good pursuit.
Yeah.
Get a degree. Don't go to high school. I would give anything to go back and finish 11th, 12th grade. So guess what I did with my kids? I made them do 12th grade. Then I made them take a year off. Then during COVID, said, you want to take another semester off? Do not be in a rush to get through this.
Wow.
Learn life as you go through. I want you to learn life. I want you to learn what I learned, but I do want you guys to study.
Right.
But if you get your degree at 24 and you got the right degree and you can get a job, you know, what's the point in rushing through college, getting a loan, getting a degree, and being unemployable?
For sure.
And you got to pay the debt off.
Yeah, I gotta pause on that one, because like that is so countercultural. Like, it's crazy, especially in the Asian community.
Yes.
To say, hey, you're done with high school, don't go to college, take a year off, and just stay and learn how to be adults with me and like live life with me.
Yeah, or to take a year off means take a year break from doing what everybody else is doing.
Right.
Don't take a year off and veg out. Like,
Yeah.
do you want to be a doctor? Go shadow a doctor. You want to be an engineer? Go see their real world. You want to be a dancer? You want to be like Ben?
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be like Ben, because nobody will go through the crap and the ups and downs and the work that it takes to be Ben. Like, not everybody can do that. They want to be Ben that's on stage.
Right.
Wow.
They don't want to be Ben that has to practice moves in front of a mirror and get it down to the exact movement and beat and everything, and then show others to do it, and then will them to do it. Like, that takes work. I used to dance. I know. I was in a band. I know. Like, somebody playing a piano, you want to be Michael Jordan? No. You want to be Kobe? No. You might want to be,
Right.
but you don't know what they're doing behind the scenes. Nobody knows what you guys do. I want to enjoy food the way you enjoy food, but I don't know what you have to do to do that. Like, I don't know what your 9 to 5 is like.
Right.
Right.
I see the snippets on Instagram. It's like, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, but don't want to be me until you know what my day-to-day is
Right.
like.
Right.
'Cause
Yeah, that final
you
product.
would survive a minute.
People want the final product, but they don't know what the process is,
They don't
and
know
to
what the
live in
process
your
is.
shoes 24/7 to even get a moment where that's even possible to show off.
Yeah. So to break that down, to break it down, life, faith, to its simplest forms is the genius. And that's what I do really well. So I was an athlete because I did fundamentals really well. I can help businesses because I know fundamentals of businesses really well. I'm not the fancy business guru. I'm the boring guy that looks at boring stuff, but gets the boring stuff right and when well put together, because somebody's chasing and putting makeup on and the right suit and they look the part. Hey, if you guys play ball, have you ever been on the court where somebody walks on and they got the right shoes, they got everything. We're just you pass them the ball.
It looked like a Nike store threw up on them.
You pass him the ball and it's like, it looks good. Ain't passing him the ball again. Let's play around him.
Yeah.
Right? So that's what a lot of entrepreneurs do. That's what a lot of athletes do. They look the part, but they don't know. That's for a lot of people, what I try to teach my kids and anybody that works with me is you need to learn how to work, not what to do. Like, learn the how to be Ben and dancing. Learn that. Learn how to do those. So because what do we tell people? So work hard.
Yeah.
Work smarter.
Right.
But they don't know what work hard means.
Right.
Be faithful.
Yeah,
What does that mean?
Yeah.
Oh, be faithful. Oh, prophesy when you can. For a moment. Search. Don't worry about answered prayers. Doubt. Because 2,000 years later, you have a brown guy from India talking about his faith because of a guy that doubted.
Wow.
And we call him Doubting Thomas. He's a superhero to me. So I tell everybody, doubt.
Wow.
Doubt if you can. If your heart's in the right place, doubt. You're not a cynic. If your heart's in the right place, doubt. Be curious. Have questions. Get it right.
Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to this episode so far. Just to keep it real, it takes time, energy, and resources to produce this pod. If you feel led to, you can support us by donating on Cash App at Good Service Podcast.
Any amount, large or small, is truly appreciated. Thank you guys so much. We love y'all. Back to the episode.
I mean, when you say doubt, like, you say the qualifiers, if your heart's in the right place, because doubting often is paired with questioning, right? Like, I don't know if I trust this, therefore I have a lot of questions. But if the desire is like, because I believe that there is an answer, so my doubting is gonna lead to me asking the questions for me to find the answer. Like, because when Thomas doubted, and then Jesus was like, put your hands here, like put your hands here. And then he's like, oh, wow, now I believe. Now it's like, I am convinced. And that's where he took off and did what he did, you know? So I think that, the heart posture piece, I think that is the key component. Cause like, even, man, I like, you are so speaking into my life. And I literally was praying, cause okay, let me just give some context to today's episode. We're very transparent with our audience here. Our normal sound recording engineer couldn't make it today. And, we had some scheduling
So is this
conflicts.
actually being recorded?
This is being, I think it's been, hopefully it's being recorded.
I'm double checking everything again.
I think everything is rocking. And so immediately I start going in and panic mode. I was like, oh wait, James is on his way today. And like, how are we gonna do this? And then, Kevin and I were like, yo, can we do this ourselves? And then like, I was like, bro, I'm on my way to go pick up the food. Can you go and try to figure it out and FaceTime Kevin to see if he can teach you or whatever? So I'm like, in my head, I'm like panicking. I'm like, oh, like, how is this gonna work today? And then as I was driving, I felt like the Holy Spirit was just calming the clutter in my head down. And I was like, Lord, I believe that today is going to turn out the way it's supposed to turn out. Like traffic and all, technical difficulties, scheduling problems and all. And as you're talking right now, you're literally speaking into the thing that I had been anxious about. Because we started talking before we even started rolling about like, I'm just like, there's a dry season and things like that. And like the questioning, like, what is my questioning? It's like, it is doubting. I'm like, Lord, like, do you hear me? Like, I've been asking you this for a while. And then I'm also just like, but God, I trust like this podcast is happening for a reason. James is coming here today for a reason. All this stuff happened. And then when I called Kevin, I'm like, hey bro, I got the food. Like, did you figure it? And he's like, hey, dude, I figured it out. We're good. And I'm like, and I come here, I'm like, oh shoot, it looks like
That's awesome.
our normal setup.
Yeah, this is my first time setting up audio in my life.
No way, really? Yeah. You fooled me, man. You fooled me. I wouldn't have
it's
known.
working.
I thought, wow,
Audio's good.
Kevin's a food guy. He does this.
And
He
now
does
he's
that,
a
and he does
podcast
sound.
engineer.
Like, wow.
I
I was feeling small.
I will speak to this is that, so I'm listening to all of this and it's like so interesting because like there's this method of life that I've been on this, it's more refined today now, but when I started my journey into all this different stuff, like where I went from the 9 to 5 very structured life to let's just let the creator be the creator and let me go create with him and do all this crazy stuff, right? And when that part of my life took off, my motto was like ready, fire, aim. Like I wasn't gonna let anyone or anything tell me that I can't do anything. Meaning, so in my mind, even to this day, I honestly think I could do anything. However, I can't master everything because I just don't have enough time. So I have this thing in my head, like this chip on my shoulder because of that idea. And what happens is like I've only discovered Instagram in 2020. Like I didn't even know how to use my camera phone. But now I'm like part of social media teams. I'm sure if people listen to this, they're gonna be like, "What?"
You're on stage.
Yeah, I know. But I understood the basics of traditional marketing, but not like I wasn't the guy doing the like in-depth like editing, creation, all that stuff, right? But now I know how to do all that, and so like I was just telling somebody that was here in the office too, just as I was setting up, he's like, "Hey, have you ever done this before?" I'm just like, well, I'm doing it now and it's going to be fine. And, you know, it turned out okay. I mean, we'll see at the end of this thing, right?
Hopefully it's recording.
And I'm listening to everything you're saying too, and just reflecting on like how I've been kind of like running in that mode, but also like refining in the fact of like, I'm just going to try different things. And this questioning piece, what's really interesting is that when one of my mentors told me for this year, he was like, you know, like he was like, sometimes he'll ask me, can I just lay it on you a little bit like raw today? I'm like, do it. Because I actually love that. I'm like, I'm always down for positive criticism or just criticism. I just want to, because I'm always in this state of wanting to grow. And he was like, you know, you carry a lot of false humility, dude. And I was like, ooh. And that was like a gut check. And then he goes, you really, like sometimes, not all the time, you really think you just know everything. And I'm like, really? And I was like, just take a deep breath. And I'm like,
you're like, I don't?
Yeah. I'm like, this is a tough conversation. And then I'm like, okay. And then he challenged me. He said, you know, sometimes with God and just in life, you gotta show up just not knowing anything. So you could show up asking questions.
Whoa.
And you gotta have that childlike bewilderment. Like be bewildered, Kevin. And I was like, damn it.
That's it, man. There's 3 things. I have friends that wrote a book on this.
Yeah.
3 things they wrote about.
Yeah.
Humility. Humility doesn't mean you don't have ego.
Right.
A lot of people say, I don't have any ego. Well, I don't want to be around you. I need your confidence.
Sure.
Right.
But you have to have some ego.
Right.
I hope it's healthy to dance, to go online and talk about food and even talk people into like the Sonic thing in San Diego. Like,
Yeah.
that has to be willed to life, right?
Right.
You need confidence. That's ego, but it's ego that's checked, right?
Right.
Wow, that's
So
good.
humility doesn't mean absence of ego. It just means ego that's strong and healthy. Second thing is curiosity. Third thing is veracity, which means veracity is drilled down to the truth.
Wow.
Meaning you don't want to go along with something. You want to be doubting Thomas and say, okay, I'm not going to go along with this because I've never seen this before. But this guy, I saw him on the cross dead. I know he was in the tomb. How is it possible that he's here? I've never seen that before. I wasn't there when he first came in the room. The room was locked, by the way. How in the world did he get in? So I'm not buying into it, guys, until I see it.
Wow.
But I've never seen anything like that. So and then Jesus appears. Okay, now I don't even know that, I'm not a theologian. I don't even know that he put his hands in. He just had to see Jesus. I don't think, you have to verify this, but I don't think Thomas actually put his hands inside the wound. All he had to do was see Jesus.
Wow.
That's all he had to do. But yeah, so humility with ego, that's checked.
Right.
Curiosity, and then veracity, down to the truth. Like, get to the truth of the matter. Don't be fooled. LA, what I'm learning is LA is fooling a lot of people. And a lot of people are chasing phantoms.
Wow.
And I was just sitting in the car outside talking to somebody. I said, hey, I see you're chasing stuff. And you're chasing stuff because you want to be seen there, you want to do this. And even they can chase Bible studies. You guys have to be careful about the Bible study you do here. There's a lot of people here that don't need to be here. Like, what I would tell them is, if you're not on your hands and knees weeping before the Lord or singing in your own room, don't come here.
Oh my God.
Because this is a fix. I'm telling you, this can be an addiction, like a drug.
Right.
Wow.
Because the only time people get spiritual is when they're with other people. 2 or more are gathered is a real thing, but 2 or more gathered that are strong in their own right together is more powerful. But if I can only be spiritual because I'm gathered with you guys, like, you need to tell people, don't come. Be careful with growing.
Whoa. Do we need to start telling people?
Am I kicked off
Did
the
you have your
podcast
quiet
yet?
time today?
Hey guys, so
you
now
can't
we're
be.
gonna cut to a commercial.
It just got real hot.
Am I done? You're kicking
Hot
me
take.
off?
Hot take. No, but this is drilling down to truth.
No, I'm serious,
absolutely.
because I would rather be in
Wow.
a room with people who are prayed up, who are living dangerously with faith, with truth, with love, and coming in broken, not well put together. Because people don't want to be around that. They don't want to be around you when you're up and down. They want to be around you when you're up. When you're down, where are they?
Man, you are reading my mail right now, bro.
So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So who you're around matters. And there's nothing wrong with the ones that aren't there yet. But Jesus had 3: Peter, James, John. I was with him. No, I'm kidding. Right? He had 3.
Yeah.
Then he had the 12. Then there was a 70. Then there's a 120. Then there were the multitudes.
Right. Dang.
He knew who to take with. It was the same 3 every time. He took Peter, James, and John. Peter, James, and John went here. Peter, James, and John went there. And it's not because they were the best guys. Peter did the worst thing ever. But who's your 3? Who's your 12? Who's your 1?
Right.
Yeah, you got to know who that is. And so you can grow this anything, but if the wrong people are there, especially if it's faith driven, that's a problem with church. Is like they're getting their fix on Sunday and don't know what to do with it the rest of the week.
Right.
So you just be careful about that. Super important.
Yeah.
Super important.
Whoa.
Dang. There's there's so many truth bombs right there. It's crazy.
I think this
is
podcast
crazy,
is
man.
for me and Kevin. Like, today's episode,
Yeah.
sponsored by James Mathews.
I just feel like I came on his show. And I'm getting rocked right now.
Oh my gosh, this is so good.
Oh, this is so good.
You know,
I love it. I love it.
What you're talking about as far as even the people want to be with you when you're at your top, right? And not when you're struggling with your up and down. Though they may say that they are, like, hey, I'm here for you, whatever you need. Like, you know, that's something very easy to say, right? Because that's the right thing to say, right? When someone's struggling, say, hey, if you need anything, hit me up.
Yeah,
and they say that without ever really meaning it. I feel like I'm experiencing that now, you know what I mean? And speaking of ego, you know, when I struggle with that, whatever that is, in terms of like, oh man, like I feel like I'm not at my best right now. Like who's around me, you know what I mean? And I'm seeing who's around in the real ways. And I'm so thankful for that, because you know who's really there and who's kind of there in word, but not by action. And I think that's something that really is, well, one, it's a gut check for me, because the thing that I'm struggling with, like, oh, how come I am not at my up right now? Like, Lord, I need to get back up. I need to be out there. I need to be doing something that's impressive to the world, so that like the peer group that I'm used to being around accepts me and like, hey, Ben, get in here. We're all killing it over here. Like, let's all celebrate one another. But then the reality of life is to stay up like that is literally impossible.
It's impossible.
That is why, it's the unfortunate common tale within Hollywood where people are just chasing their next success, their next, I got this much money, I got to double that the next time. I made this movie with this many like box office, blah, blah, blah. I got to top that the next time. And you keep chasing that. And then what does that do? It just ends up, you just dig yourself into this hole where like, that you can't ever continue to outdo yourself. And then it just becomes this pressure. Yeah. And I'm feeling just a little smidgen of what that is, even in my own world. And it's with that I take that to God. I'm like, God, I don't know what to do with this. Like, this is hard. And I think that's a part of even like just even being open on this podcast where I feel like my struggle point is like, Lord, how do I like teach me to let go of that pursuit of just that constant, like, God, I gotta keep doing, I gotta keep performing. And like if God is saying, hey, I don't need you to do that, I need you to just wait, and I need you to just sit with me. I'm like, oh God, but that's so hard because I'm not doing anything. Nothing's being produced. I'm like, all right, well, let me just go do this little podcast thing. You know what I mean? They're like this little, very humble beginnings podcast. I'm like, is that all I'm doing, God? Is this just this podcast? I'm like, okay, well then let's make this podcast the biggest thing in the world. And like, I think like God's like, chill, bro. I'm gonna hook you up with some coffee, you know what I mean, and some pastries, which I'm very thankful for.
You guys are the one that's growing because the podcast, and maybe it won't grow. It's mass audience. Maybe it will. Maybe God has had the podcast so the people are coming on here are speaking directly to you. That could be the case sometimes.
That's what it is today, for sure. 1,000%. That's what it is.
Here's a question. In that instance, up and downs, like I believe, much like Dave, you heard this as Zag, it is time for a creative generation to kind of step into the places of where the church and others have vacated. It is a creative generation, but to be creative, the best creatives, if you write a song or hear a song with the lyrics that are just like, oh my God, that touched me, or your dances, or whatever you do, if there's joy that's coming out of you, Kevin, like I don't know much about your history and life and things like that, but if there's joy coming out of you, abundance of joy, that means there's a lot of hurt and pain. Why? Because if you can creatively express yourself to the degree that people find it beautiful, it's because you experience the exact opposite, because you went to that dark place and you were way over there. So if you're a bright light right now, it's because you know what dark means.
Wow.
If you love fiercely, you know what it means to be abandoned. Yeah. And so the creatives are the ones who live the schizophrenic life that dare to kind of go to that dark place, understand it, find peace in it, not full acceptance of it, but there you find peace in it. And then when you are, Psalms 40 says, he pulled me out of the miry clay, out of the pit and the miry clay. And what'd he do? Set my feet upon the rock. And then Psalms 40 verse 5 says, therefore none compares to him. Why? Because I know where I was. And he put my feet. And what people think is, oh, my feet is on the rock. It means I'm cleaned up and got no. Like, I want to stand on that rock bloodied, dirty, because Revelation says you overcome by what? Blood of the Lamb and the word of your testimony. Wow. So U2 has a song called 40, and that's one of my favorite songs is this Psalms 40. It says, I was in a miry pit, feet upon a rock, and I will sing a new song. Why? Because I know what it's like to be down there, and I'm happy, even if I am muddied up with all the dirt and clay. So what I would want to tell you is that's number one is, if you're a creative expressing something that's joyful or so loving, or a characteristic that we all want to be, then you've probably, if you're expressing it out in ways that are relevant and touching to people, it's because you've actually felt the opposite, and you've been there, you get it, and that's important. So Jesus did the same thing. So do you guys I have a favorite word in the Bible that motivates me every day when I get to those points, because I get to those points almost every day, multiple times a day. And I have this is what I'm saying, break bread means something to me. Like bread, the word of God, like you're hearing me say this, is like, this is my map for life. I didn't come prepared. I don't have notes in front of me. Like, this is how I've learned to survive. As it goes, Sunday doesn't matter to me if it don't work Monday through the rest of the week.
Yep.
Right? So do you guys have a favorite word in the Bible that means something to you? Because I do. I think it's the most powerful word in the Bible. Just one word.
This is just the first word that came to mind is persevere.
Persevere. Very good.
To me is service.
Service.
Yeah.
You know what my word is? Nevertheless.
Nevertheless.
You know why?
Yes.
Because Jesus, in the Garden of Gethsemane, Jesus, the Son of God that sat next to God, sinless, blameless, knows what it means. If you have sin, you get separated from the place that he's being asked by God to take on your sin, to take on my sin. And so he's in the Garden of Gethsemane just going, oh my God, do I have to do this? Do I have to do this? It's like what you were just saying. And then he even negotiates with God. Hey, if I don't have to do this, could you remove this cup away from me? Because, and in that moment, you know what I picture him doing? I picture him not doing the world. I picture him going, do I really have to do this for James? Is he worth it?
Yeah.
Like, I'm about to take on James's sin, and I know what that means to take his sin, to be separated from you. God, if that happens, will I really be able to come back to you? Will this plan work? Will the plan work, God? And what happens? He negotiates, he sits there, he talks, he cries. The Bible talks about the prayer even.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And what does he say? Nevertheless, if it's your will, I'll do it.
Jeez.
Nevertheless, we all are Christians because Jesus said nevertheless, because he could have said, nah, not for James, not for Kevin, not for Ben, not for anybody that's watching this. It's not worth it, because I know what it means. I've seen what Lucifer did. I know where he's at. I don't want to be over there, because that puts me in that category. But nevertheless, I'll do it for James, is what the scripture says to me. So you've got to multiple times during the day get to nevertheless.
Yeah.
And then guess what? It's not, oh, I found freedom. It's like, nevertheless. And then you're like, man, I got to do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not nevertheless, everything's fine.
Yeah. We got work to do.
It's nevertheless. And that's where faith comes in.
Amen.
And so if we don't do that as men, as women, as brothers, as sisters, as sons, as daughters, and as neighbors, as husbands, as wives, as fathers, mothers, you get to nevertheless moments in relationships. You get to nevertheless moments in business. You get to nevertheless moments in choices every day.
Yeah.
And so that word nevertheless, I get to a lot. I'm like, okay, people are watching me. I know I don't have to put up with this. I'm the one that's right. They're the ones that are wrong. Okay, nevertheless, I'll do what I feel like, Holy Spirit, you're asking me to do right now. And I'm about to lose everybody that admires me, that see me on stage, that the bio you read. That bio's fake. Nobody who has that bio would ever do that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right? So are you willing to do that every day, multiple times a day?
Yeah.
That is the greatest witness that you could give anybody, because then what happens is he raises you from the dead. Yeah, you crucified. Yeah, you're, brutalized. Yeah, you're denied by the guy that wanted the 3 that you hung out, you poured into. That's what you say nevertheless to. You don't say nevertheless to, oh yeah, rocking it. It's a joyride. No, you're saying yes to a treacherous path that when you travel, Emmanuel, God is with you. And that's it. That's a Christian life. There is no joyride.
Wow. As you're talking about nevertheless, right? I mean, what followed after that nevertheless was Jesus saying, not my will, but yours. So he obeyed his Father. Yes. So that word obedience to me is what shines as this nevertheless, I will obey. Yeah. And I think, when people think about the Christian life, they're like, oh man, it's just a bunch of rules, like raining on the parade. And it's like, but we also kind of like paint the Christian life. And as Christians, we're like, oh no, but like true joy is found in living for Christ. It is hard to be a Christian. That obedience it's rarely like fun and easy, but it's for your own good. Like for Jesus to obey the Father was for Jesus's own good. And for us to obey our parents, for us to obey the laws of the land, the government, whatever, this is for our own good. And oftentimes that route is difficult. And it comes with, I would rather do it this way because that's going to serve my desires. But nevertheless, let me obey.
Yeah, I also I don't
do the
know,
hard thing.
Ben. Like I don't know if it turns out good for me. I think the nevertheless is, God, if it turns out good for you.
Yes, I stand corrected. Yes.
God, if it gives you glory, if it brings your name renown, if it
God,
advances your kingdom. Yeah. Jesus died for me. I can do this. Like I don't know if it will turn out good. That's a risk you take. Like you don't know if it'll turn out good for you.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
You just know that it'll turn out good for him.
Yeah.
That's hard.
Wow.
That's hard. Yeah.
I mean, as I'm listening to all this, I'm like, we got to have a part 2 with James.
I think we might need to do a whole new podcast with James.
Because there are some stories about your life that I heard about from our mutual friends that go into this topic of nevertheless. And I definitely, in part 2, we will get to some of those stories because I wanted to hear directly from you how those stories went, but I don't want to start one of those stories.
Well, that's where I learned all this from, right? We learned it from the stories.
Right. Right.
And then you reflect back, you see God in it, and you're like, okay. Wow. Like, it's not a set of rules, it's a set of instructions, and it's a set of principles. It's a set of promises, God's word is. It's not a set of rules. It's a set of promises. It's a set of instructions. And if we just believed in the instructions and know that the outcome's not for us but for him, like it works. And I don't do it perfectly every day. Like I get offended, I get hurt, I get traumatized, I react to that kind of stuff, but I get back to this place because of the things we just talked about.
Yeah,
I get back to it. Like I can think of instances this week where I had to apologize. Like, I'm sorry, like I got hurt and I reacted this way, and I kept you at a distance. Like I said that to someone this week. I'm like, yeah, because I got hurt. Like I don't know what I would do if you were close, if I kept you close to me. Right, like, I would probably hurt you, or feel like I would continue to be hurt. Like I don't know, but I did get hurt, and I kept you at a distance, and I'm sorry. Yeah. And I'm probably still going to keep you at a distance, but no, when we get to the other side of this, we're fine.
Yeah,
I'm just hurt. It's hard.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's hard.
Oh man.
We really got just thinking through everything right now. I know what he's thinking.
Yeah, I know. But you know what? for the sake of time, man, we want to respect the time. Good Service is the name of this show, and as you can see, we have bomb food from these places that provide delicious food, great service. And so shout out Series A today for providing this meal for us. But good service, the terms good and service, they mean different things to different people. So to you, James, what is good service in your world, and how do you define that?
I think service is about being present. Like I told you, hey, Felicia, am I going to be present, or am I going to pretend to be here? Because maybe she knew, maybe she wouldn't know the difference. But I think service is about being present, being mindful. What can I do? What do I don't have? Is my presence here enough alone? You know, just Kevin just needs somebody to be present. I don't have to say a word, no counseling, no words. So I think service is about being fully present, attentive, observing, seeing what others cannot see, understanding things intuitively, and feeling that, and then being able to be prayerful and thoughtful about, what happens next. I think that's what service is. It's just like, it's like being there, being present. That's a really good word for people in relationships, whether it's friends, whether it's parents, brothers or sisters, whether it's spouses or children. Like, I learned that I quit my job in 2012 because a good person, I went through this thing, it might be the story for podcast too, but a friend made me write down the definition of what a good husband was and a good parent was. And I wrote down, it's my own definition, different words. And then she goes, now rank yourself on these things. And I was okay with everything except one word in both categories. But I was flying around the world. This bio that you read, like, I was ashamed of the bio, because then she made me go to a street corner and said, by your own definition, James, by your own definition, you have just said you are not a great father and you are not a great husband. She made me go to a street corner and yell out to people in cars walking by and driving by, I am not a great father. She made me do it.
Whoa.
I am not a great husband, 10 times.
Wow.
I quit my job. My family is based in India. I was here in Irvine, quit my job, and started doing these things with basketball and entrepreneurs and everything else. Thought, okay, I've had a fairy tale career. I don't know how this is going to work out. We'll do it for a couple of years and then figure out what's next. But presence, service, the people around you, presence to me matters.
Yeah.
By my own definition, I was not great.
Wow.
So yeah.
What a powerful and kind of cruel friend.
Yes. Cool. Those are the friends. That's why
I don't know if I would do that if you asked me to do it.
That's why I say, like, have those people around you.
Yeah.
Like, I can walk into a room with some friends and say, oh yeah, I was with this NBA player or this politician or this person, and it is all true. I can walk in and they'll say, yeah, how's Nanu doing? Did you talk to her today? Like, that's an instant response. I was like, dang.
Yeah.
No, but those are some of my best friends. Like, those are the ones who keep it real. So that service to me is just being present, and presence is truth, right? It is what it is.
Amen.
Yeah. I think good to me is, in Philippians, it talks, this is going to be, you guys are probably going to be confused with this answer, but good to me is, in Philippians, it says, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is pure, and most people, like, sermons are given on truth, purity, noble, honor. The key word in there is whatever. The whatever for you is different than the whatever for me, is different than the whatever for you. So what is good is, you better be sticking to your whatever. Don't try to do it the way Kevin does it. And don't try to do it the way I do it. So I can't try to compare. So comparison is really a killer, I think. I think that's what social media, there's a lot of good things about social media, but one of the things is like, man, I wish I could do that. You know, I wish I could be like that. So I think whatever, if you understand what that is, that's good. That's what good is. So you're whatever.
Yeah.
That means you're true to whatever it is, who you are. Do not compare yourself. Oh, I'm 20 years old and the other 20-year-old already has this, this, and this. I heard my daughter say this other day. Yeah, I'm taking organic chemistry with her, and she already owns 2 cars, but she works 3 jobs. And I'm like, okay, tell me what else she does. Does she have debt on it? Like, I don't know. Don't compare yourself. You know, I'm 30 years old. I'm 40 years old. And this person that's 40 has this, and this person, and here I am. You know, or I could be better than all of them. That's also a danger, because you think, oh yeah, I'm good. You know, but whatever is true to you, and understanding that is what's good to me. Because I love that. I love you as you, Ben. And I loved hearing your story the first time and I was like, yeah, hey, you know, and back then contemplating where am I going to move next. I was like, hearing you and meeting you guys, like, hey, if this is what the community is around here, it's good. It's good. I like the whatevers.
Dang, you just made me redefine whatever, because it's like whatever is like whatever.
Yeah. So nevertheless and whatever, like do sermons on those. You won't hear
Oh my
them.
God, you just redefined that term. Like whatever is tight.
Whatever. It is.
Oh my God.
That's what makes
Welcome
life
to
beautiful.
Ben's therapy session.
For real though, man.
Yeah, like be you.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
This is so good,
yeah.
dude.
That's crazy.
Sorry.
No, James, we're doing at least a part 2. I mean, you know what's great about I'm so thankful for this episode, and not even just this podcast, because we really feel that like Holy Spirit shows up and he directs everything, and that we really invite him every time. Like, Lord, this is like, we don't even have a topic yet. Like, we don't know. I don't know where the conversation with James is gonna go. I'm thinking this guy has such a colorful resume. We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about like what is like Elevate Ag. We didn't even talk about what you do, and we can get into that another time. But what I love about this conversation, and I'm thanking God just in real time right now for this, because like it really is ministering. And I'm not saying it is about me, but it directly is ministering to the core of my soul right now, because that was what I was praying for. And I pray that whoever's watching and listening, that this is ministering to them. I mean, I know it is. I know it is. And this is something that we as a collective, like between Kevin and I in this podcast, with the growing of Break Bread and like this space, and like, what are we doing? Are we doing it right? Or like, should we have done it this way versus that way? All these questions. This is all of my in real time stuff. And as I sit and just listen to you, like it was, it's not about here's what I do kind of thing, like, because you're like, yo, let's talk about the real stories of like, this is like literally I process life in this way, and I'm like, okay, that's the real stuff that I need to know.
Well, that's the story. That's how the bio comes up. That's where I end up. That's how I end up where I end up.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's appropriate. Like I don't want to talk about that before I talk about this. Like, I believe Zechariah 4:10, Proverbs 25:2. You know, you said wilderness. I have something for that. Like, here's what you do in the wilderness. You know, in the desert. Like, I've been all those places.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask you about that offline. Yeah, because I need to know.
So that's the way to do it. If there's any other thing that I start with, like, it'd be nothing. And I think the best thing is I'm kind of weird and unique in that way, because it's just how I've learned about life. But I found a wife that plays along with that, you know, and that's not easy.
Yeah.
It's not easy to say, you're saying nevertheless again? No way. Go kick their butt. You know, go get this. No, she goes along with it because she feels and thinks and understands the same thing. So that was something I never thought I would find, is a wife that understood that. And then I have kids right now that I see mimicking that. I worry for them. I worry for them because I know they're going to have a great life, but it's going to come at these, at this route. They're going to have a great life, but I'm just like, oh God, just persevere, help them persevere, sustain themselves, because what you see is not what you get there. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of things that go with it. So it's good. It's good.
Yeah. Well, James, thank you for your time, man. Thank you for coming out here.
Well, thank you for having me.
Of course, we are gonna have you back if you would be so willing to.
All right.
So speaking of service, what is a way that people can serve you in this season of life? Is there anything that you're working on? Anything that you want to just let the people know?
Yeah, I think that I would just say generally, if you're a creator, create and put your art out there. And if you feel like you're going it at alone, hey, call one of us. Get a hold of these guys and find me. I'm here in LA right now. That's what Elevate X was I went through a lot of things. I felt like I was alone, but during that time, when I reflected back, I was in my 20s by this time. I have done a lot, sport-wise and business-wise, and I was like, man, I was alone through that journey. But I realized, no, I wasn't alone. I always had at least one person rooting for me. What I wanted were the masses rooting for me. So I felt like, I really feel like knowing that you're not running this race alone is super important. So call these guys, get a hold of me. Like, do not feel like you're alone, and doubt if you need to. Just don't run the race alone is what I would say. Like that's what we moved to LA for. Is I felt like, man, there's a lot of people chasing things, and probably they feel alone. So let's move here and build a community where we're there for each other. So that's what I would say is like, if you're a creator, especially, put your stuff out there and then find someone to be with. And if you don't have anybody, get a hold of us.
How can people get a hold of you?
I am not on, I don't post on social media a lot, but I am on social media. I follow. So jmathews.me on Instagram.
And that's Mathews with one T.
Mathews with one T.
Yeah.
JMATHEWS.me on Instagram. And I do check it, but I don't post. And if I post, I only post about my family. But I may change that a little bit once I'm here, since I'm here right now. But I've been thinking about it. But this way, or get a hold of me through these guys.
Yeah. And we'll help you get that stuff together too.
Yes,
that's what we're here for. Yeah.
Perfect.
My camera just died, so I'm gonna look into yours.
Let's end it like this together.
Cool.
There you go.
Folks, thanks for listening. Good service. We out of here. We'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.
We out.
Thank you for listening to this episode. Make sure you like, follow, and subscribe, and leave us that 5-star rating. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Good Service Pod, and on YouTube at Good Service Podcast.
And if you'd like to support us, you can donate on Cash App at Good Service Podcast. Thank you. Peace.